So, wow, this is not the time of day to film in my bedroom, is it? You guys, I just need to let you know, I'm coming out of my ugly era. So many of you were up in arms. I've been talking about it on TikTok too, about being in my ugly era. And a lot of people get very upset when I say that. No, you are not ugly. Stop it. Stop it right now. And I'm like, guys, I can say I'm ugly. I don't think I'm like forever ugly. I just think I was being ugly. You know what I mean? And if beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I am beholding myself, then can I not say I'm ugly? Anyway, I'm coming out of it. Coming out of my cage, and I've been doing just fine. Okay, here's an OTD. Got my hair cut as well. Got insoles in my shoes so I don't have to keep wearing my New Balances. I don't know if I told you. I'm having some plantar fasciitis problems. Look, that's not helping my cause. Newly Sonder House. Is that what it's called? Earrings are H&M. And I've been doing my makeup. My dermatologist cleared me of my perioral dermatitis. She did diagnose me with rosacea, but we're not letting that hold us down. Hang on. The second I start filming, everything that could possibly make noise starts making noise. My nails are brittle. We're working on that. We're addressing that. However, gorgeous. Don't ask the color, I do not know. Okay, you guys, I'm making some noodles right now. This is literally not sponsored. I absolutely wish they should sponsor me because I'm keeping them in business right now, I swear to God. I've been eating this every day. Every freaking day, man. I love it. I always like saw it in the store and I just thought, that's just like kind of a gimmick. And I heard people talking about it and I thought, I'll give it a shot. I didn't know it was like healthy. I thought it was just like new, cool mac and cheese. And it's like high protein, high fiber. And Lord knows I need that. I had the craziest Sunday. Actually, let me go eat this and then I'll tell you. Okay, I finished my noodles and then I completely forgot I was vlogging and I started just scrolling through TikTok. Anyway, just had to get it all off the floor because our routine has become I eat the noodles and then maybe licks the bowl afterwards. And we've loved this tradition. Okay, so my day on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, mind you, where the Eagles are playing. I'm from Philadelphia. Anyway, I had plans to go to my friend's house and watch the game with all my friends, right? So I wake up, Super Bowl Sunday, and I go, oh my God, I have like 40 missed calls from this same number. What the hell? No voicemail. And Ted's like, that's so weird. And then he looks at his phone and he goes, I have a bunch of missed calls. And I do have a voicemail. So mind you, let me rewind. I got my blood taken last week. Just regular kind of routine blood work, right? And so that was a few days ago, and then, yeah, now cut to waking up, saying more missed calls, and well, that's weird. Anyway, no voicemail. And then Ted going, I have a bunch of missed calls. And he listens to the voicemail and goes, it's from your doctor. Cut the cameras. I literally said, kiss me right now because it's gonna be the last time. This is not good. This is not good. Dude, it was not like 2 missed calls and then calling him. This was every 2-minute calling. Like, this was like a toxic ex harassing me. I was like, not okay. And so turns out I got a new phone. My voicemail wasn't set up. I don't know. I've never had to do that before. So that's why I guess he didn't leave me a voicemail. Why do I have something in my eye? Anyway, so I'm like, hold my hand, I'm calling him back and I'm bracing for him to tell me the worst news of my life. I call him, he's not, mind you, I call him, they're like, he's not in today. He's not, do you want the doctor on call to call you? He's not even on call. So now I'm extra scared. I'm like, I think he wants to talk to me, so maybe just have him call me back. He calls me back immediately. And he's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm at home. He's like, thank God. What? And then he goes, you are a really hard person to get a hold of. At this point, it was 11 a.m. I was not about to tell my doctor that I have just woken up. So instead, I didn't know what to say. I just said, and then he just kept going. So he said, listen, your platelet count came back dangerously low, really dangerously low. It was 20. And it's supposed to be between like, I don't know, in the hundreds, upper hundreds, like 250 to 500 or something. And it was 20. So I was like, that's not good. So he's like, I was terrified. He's like, first of all, the lab, when a value like this comes back, they should call me immediately. So the fact that they took days to this came in like normal blood work, like nothing was wrong. So he's like, I've been on the phone with them. I've been trying to get a hold of you. I'm thinking you're in the hospital because I couldn't get you this information. La 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 la. I'm like, what? So here's the crazy thing. Something called ITP runs in my family, which is a autoimmune disorder that causes low platelets. But it hasn't affected my family members until they're in their like late 60s. So I'm already like, here we go. It's happening. And he's like, you know, it could be an error, but I'm like, he's like, with your family history, like, I don't know. So I'm freaking out, but he's like, this is so low that like if it dipped any lower, like you could spontaneously bleed out internally. So I'm like, okay, this is awesome. Really good start to the day for someone with anxiety and OCD. So I'm like, here we go. I always knew I was destined for the worst things. I'm like, what should I do? He's like, I want you to get this retested immediately. He's like, I want to see results today. And I was like, okay, it's, mind you, Sunday, so all the labs are closed. So I was like, am I supposed to go to the ER? He's like, listen, he's like, I don't want you to go to the ER because like, how annoying is that? But if you can't find anybody to give you a blood test today, then yes, I want you to go to the ER. So I get off the phone with him and we're calling like literally every urgent care in the city, even the ones outside of the city. And we're like, hey, do you do your lab work in-house or do you send out to a lab? And literally 99% of them all sent out to a lab except for one. One was like, we do actually do it in-house. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. And they're like, I'm like going through like the problem. And then they're like, oh, but we don't do blood work on Sundays. What? So anyway, after like an hour, I'm like, of crying, mind you, crying a lot because I'm like, I don't want it. Because here's the thing, if it's like really dangerously low, I have to get like an infusion and like maybe even a blood transfusion and like I just all these other things. I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, I'm gonna die. This is a big problem. I haven't had any symptoms, but apparently some people are asymptomatic. I don't know. So I'm like, okay, so I call him back. And I was like, tell it to me straight. I was like, can I just wait till tomorrow? Because I don't want to go to the ER. It costs like hundreds of dollars. I'm gonna be there all day. There's people who with the flu. I'm just like, you know, could I just wait one more day and get the blood test? And he was like, listen, if you were my sister or another family member, I would tell you to go to the ER. I was like, fair enough. So that's what we had to do. So mind you, it's like 1 o'clock. We're supposed to be at my friend's at 3:30. I'm like, this ain't happening. But this is also like, if I had just started going to this doctor, I'd be like, maybe he's freaking out or overreacting. But like, I've been going to this doctor for years. I love him. He is the most even-keeled person ever. I'm the one who's always freaking out. I'm like, but what about, can we test for this? And he's always like, shut up, like whatever. Like we kind of have that like a bit of a rapport where he's just like, whatever, you're kind of being crazy right now. And I'm like, okay. So the fact that he's like, go to the hospital now, I'm afraid you're gonna bleed out. I was like, I knew it. So we go to the ER. It's honestly not looking that bad. I am double masked because I'm like, no one. Every time, like I was so shameless in there. I was like sitting, and the second someone like even just went next to me, I was like, and I'd go sit on the other side of the room. Like, do not even breathe on me. Most people were wearing masks because they're normal. Some people are in there just raw dogging it. One guy sat next to me with this kid. I'm thinking the kid's sick, of course, right? Because the kids, they're always sick. He doesn't have a mask on, but he's young. I'm like, whatever. I'm getting ready to leave because I'm like, I still don't want to be around any sick people right now. And all of a sudden the dad goes like, I have chills. I'm sick. He doesn't have a mask on. Sir, what the fuck? At one point, first of all, we're sitting in there. They put the game on, thankfully, so we're able to see like who's winning, who's losing. This is what the game looks like. The TVs, it looks like we're watching it at night underwater. And so we can't even see. At one point, Ted's like, who is that? I'm like, I think it's SZA. Up until this point, it hadn't been that bad. But all of a sudden, there's a man there that keeps going, ah! Ow! And that's what we have to listen to for like an hour and a half. I was like, please get me out of here. They triaged me really quickly. And I kept trying to make it sound, I was like, my doctor is really worried. He thinks I could spontaneously bleed out. You know, just trying to get myself like up there in the line. And they're like, okay. Like they do not care. We were dead last, okay? Again, I'm wearing 2 N95 masks. So is Ted. We start being like, what the fuck is that smell? He goes, oh my God, I thought it was my breath breathing back into my face. I'm like, am I crazy? Is it my breath? All of a sudden this new person comes in with a mask, mind you, and she goes, fucking stinks in here. It smelled like, if you've ever smelled somebody who was dying, in active dying stage, that's what it smelled like. It is unmistakable. It was like a foot that hasn't been washed in 2 years. It was like a dirty diaper has been turning over a fire on a spit for 3 days. It was horrendous. Through the double mask, I'm like this. Oh, at one point, a security guard starts coming in spraying something. I'm like, people are complaining. We're all dying in here. I don't know what's going on. We're all dying? Someone's dying. Why does it smell so bad? So we're walking around spraying it. Turns out it's coming from one person, okay? I don't know what's going on with that person, you know, but it was not good. It wasn't good. They start spraying, and then all of a sudden a little bit later, a nurse comes in and she starts leaving coffee grounds in coffee filters around the house, like, or around the ER, like potpourri. She's like, sorry, I'm just gonna stick this right here. Granted, it helped. It really did help. Then this person, who this is kind of coming from, keeps walking around. Keeps walking around and then wafting it everywhere. Wafting it around, you know what I mean? And I'm just kind of like, you know, my heart goes out to them, and at some point I'm like, stay still, please. Can't you see we're like trying to get on top of this? So finally, at one point, Ted, I was like, you have to go get some food. I'm literally, we're both so hangry, we're pissed off. Our friends are all like, we got wings. I'm like, I would do anything for a wing right now. Mind you, I'm like, so you guys know I have a phobia of giving blood, okay? Needles, totally fine with. Giving blood, it's gotten so bad over the years that like I've started getting home visits from phlebotomists. Like I found this like, I forget the name. It's like through my insurance, but I have to pay extra to send a phlebotomist to my house to get my blood drawn because I get so freaked out that I'll like, I've literally left like labs, like quests of like, because I'm like, don't do it. I have to go. Like, I don't touch me. And I've like caused scenes. I've like almost fainted. It's been a whole thing. So I started doing it at home. Anyway, I'm at this hospital and I'm like, I will let anybody take my blood right now. I will let the man who smells really bad do it. You know what I mean? Like that's how desperate I was. So at this point, phobia cured, okay? And we're sitting there, we're like the last people there. I'm like, so of all the things, they don't care if I'm gonna bleed out and it'll be on their watch. Mind you, it's like 5 o'clock, it's 5 p.m. Finally they call like Spicer, we're like, thank God. Cause like our names had been calling multiple times, but it's like, they go in there like, we need to take your blood pressure. And then it's like, sit back down. Okay, and they come in. So at one point when they triaged me, I spoke to the doctor. I said, this is what's going on. This is what they're afraid of, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, for sure. And then the nurse goes, is there any, you know, she's doing my intake. Are you on any medications? Da, da, da. Is there any pain in your body? Anywhere in your body, that's what she says. I said, well, probably unrelated, but my foot hurts. She just goes, okay, that's it. No one ever brings up my foot pain again. I'm like, you asked, okay? You said anywhere in my body. I know they're looking at me, they're like, yeah, but we're thinking like chest, head, like give me the good stuff, you know? And I'm like, my foot hurts. They're like, okay, please be for real. So I get triaged, we sit forever, and then they finally call my name to get my blood drawn. Stabbed me right there. She hurt me. I will say this, no one's ever hurt me giving blood. It's a painless experience. I'm just afraid of like the actual blood like coming out, it makes me woozy. She hurt me. I think she did it on purpose. But anyway, I did fine. I did just fine, and I don't think I ever have to pay extra for those home visits again. So then we're like, finally, we're gonna get ready to go. They're in the last quarter, the game, okay? And then we go, oh, she goes, okay, so we just have to wait for the labs to be ready and then, you know, we'll have the results. And we're like, oh, how long would that take? She goes, well, it takes an hour for the labs, so probably another 2 hours for the doctor to see it. What? Anyway, Ted and I'm like, I can't stand it anymore. Ted goes down the street to McDonald's and we eat it. And I'm like, if I'm dying, give me a double cheeseburger, because I can't, I don't know what else to do. I've kind of forgotten, at this point, I'm like so miserable that I've forgotten that I'm like, I could get some bad results. Like I could get results that I'm like, I have an autoimmune disease and there's nothing I can do about that. And I'm about to go in and get a transfusion or whatever the fuck. And that is just kind of lost on me at this point. And then I start getting freaked out because I'm like, oh my God, what if I'm in hell and then it gets worse, you know? So anyway, finally we're sitting there and the doctor, not the doctor, the nurse who's like triaging everyone and bringing everyone in, we had already gone up to him a couple times and we were like, listen, how much longer, please? And he was like, I know, I don't know. He was really cool. So at one point, he comes over to us and he goes, yo, platelets normal. We're like, what? He said, I just saw the lab pop up. He said, they're gonna call you back in a bit, but I just saw it come through. It says normal and they're getting ready to discharge you. I was like, you're freaking joking me. So I don't know what normal is, right? I'm like, is it low normal? Is it what? Like, what happened here? I get the labs back. They thought my platelets were 20. 342. 342. So, yeah, $400. $400 plus the initial cost of the initial blood work, plus the at-home phlebotomist. I'm like, you're joking me. So I'm looking at the labs and I'm just like, so nothing's wrong with me. I'm looking at all my other blood work too that they tested, and I'm like, okay, I'm healthy as a horse. And so I call my doctor. He's like, oof. So it was a lab error. I was like, guess so. He's like, all right, well, close call. So we go to our friend's house. We enjoy the last, I don't know, 20 minutes of the game. I don't even get to eat a wing, because at that point they had been sitting out for like 5 hours. I was just in the hospital. I wasn't about to risk going back. So I refrained. But that's how I found out, long story short, that I'm super healthy. But it did give me a little bit of a scare. And so now I'm like, I need to turn my life around. Not that I've been unhealthy, you know, it's like I don't drink, I don't smoke anymore. I eat pretty good. I could cut out the sweets. I ate a little bit too much sugar, but I'm like, we're done. We're being healthy. I'm going to the gym. I went to the gym yesterday. I don't ever want to be sick. You know what really pisses me off though? Just to wrap this up. The one insult to injury in all of this is I'm looking at my labs. I had to do a urinalysis last week with like my blood work or whatever. I never tell you too, right? They just hand you the cup. You're like, what the hell? I just went. And they're like, well, see what you can pinch out, bitch. And so I sprinkle whatever I can. And I watched her, you know, she like literally processed it in front of me. It looked like normal fine pee. My pee, you know? The lab, so I'm looking at my urinalysis, just going through it, and it says like, you know, negative, 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 everything's fine. Then it says appearance, and there's a little asterisk. It says abnormal. I'm like, what the fuck? And then in parentheses, it says urine, parentheses, cloudy. I'm sorry? Cloudy? You wanna get your eyes checked, bub? Because my pee's plenty clear, okay? Yellow, sure. Sure, it was morning. What do you want from me? I had just taken my first few mere sips of water. But cloudy? Wow. Wow. They love to just kick someone when they're down, don't they? Anyway, so that's the story of how I spent the entire Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, in the ER. Only to be super healthy. So, moral of the story, I don't know. The freaking healthcare system sucks. Anyway, so glad I'm good though. Glad I'm good. And it kind of, I ended up like having a bit of anxiety later on. I think just the stress of it all just started coming back. I was at my friend's house and I started like getting hot and I was like, I was getting panicky and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna like pass out or something. And then I like remembered, I'm like, actually, you literally have your labs right now. You are completely fine. And then I calmed right down. So I don't know, maybe it was worth it. It wasn't. All right, guys. Well, pleasure chatting. And I will see you in my next video.